Santana, Halliday, Cueto, Wainwright, and David Price have all been on the losing side after facing the Braves. And today, maybe another chance to take down a top-flight starter as Atlanta sets its sights on Steven Strasburg. Can the Braves take down another ace? The answer is next as the Braves face off with the Nationals. It's a beautiful but hot day in Atlanta, and here at Turner Field, it's Game 2 of our 3-game weekend series between the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. All year long, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, The Right Stuff, and The Low Price. Hi again, friends. Happy Memorial Day Saturday from Turner Field in Atlanta. Game 2 of the series, Atlanta versus the first-place Washington Nationals. Great pitching matchup today. Mike Minor for the Braves, Steven Strasburg for the Nationals. Joe, the Braves have played the role of the giant killer when it comes to opposing National League pitchers, and that is our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
And there's some big names on there, and the most recent is not on there. We couldn't fit him on. David Price. Braves beat him down in Tampa Bay, so add him to that list, too. And now that leads us to Steven Strasburg, who goes for the Washington Nationals today. He was the National League Pitcher of the Month in April. He's had microscopic numbers across the board, including his road work, a 1.04 ERA. But check out that middle line. 2 starts against the Braves. He's 0-2 with a 4.35 ERA.
Mike Minor's the man getting the ball for the Braves. He really needs to turn things around.
He really does. And in those previous 4 starts, he was lights out hitting the corners with his fastball. That was really good work. And in 4 of the last 5 starts, he's given up multi-home runs, including 4 solo shots in his last start at Cincinnati. He's got to keep the ball in the ballpark today.
And let's see if the Braves can even up this series with the first-place Nationals. Atlanta 2 games back as we get things going here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Matinee baseball coming up right after this. Temperatures in the low 90s For game 2 of our weekend series with the Nationals, Washington comes in 2 games in front of Atlanta in the National League East. And here's how Davey Johnson lines up his squad. Espinosa, Bryce Harper hitting second. Ryan Zimmerman, a 3 RBI night last night. Former Brave Adam LaRoche is the cleanup man. We'll get our first look at Xavier Nady today. He'll play right field. And, of course, Steven Strasburg.
Mike Minor's on the mound for his 10th start of the year. He is 2-4. His ERA climbing too high. It is too high. Only one other starting pitcher, Chris Volstad, has a higher ERA with as many starts. He's 1-2 at home, an ERA over 6. 9 homers in his last 4 starts. That leads us to his 4 keys to pitching success for the 6'4", 205-pounder out of Chapel Hill, Tennessee. 24 years old. Michael in the middle, not a TV sitcom. He's got to stay out of the middle of the plate, which is where he's been pitching, up and out over the middle. Don't go there today. First inning, get off to a good start, get some confidence, and get after it today.
And Danny Espinosa is in the batter's box. Literally, as Mike Minor came out to begin his warm-ups, Eric Hinsky came out to play first base in place of Freddie Freeman, who was in the original starting lineup. So one can assume that the eye issues continue for Freddie Freeman. The Braves also without Brian McCann today with the flu, and Chipper Jones, after the game last night, was placed on the 15-day disabled list.
Yeah, the hits just keep on coming, don't they? Another thing about the first inning is that even though they got 4 runs in the first last night, the Nationals have scored fewer runs in the first inning than any team in Major League Baseball. So fire up a 0 today, Mr. Minor.
That's a little low. 3 balls and a strike. Espinosa hit 6th in the order yesterday. Was hit by a pitch in the first inning and came home on Ankiel's extra base hit. This ball popped up, and there will be no play for J.C. Boscan, who was called up to take Chipper's roster spot. That's Dana DeMuth, Kerwin Danley, Manny Gonzalez, and Doug Eddings, the umps.
Well, Doug Eddings did a good job last night.
Straight back to the screen, and still a 3-2 count.
Nationals are 9-5 in day games. The Braves 6-7. And the Nationals haven't seen that many left-handed starters, but they have a winning record there too. They're 6-5.
Fly ball lifted to shallow left. Martin on a dead sprint. Can't get there. The ball's fair. Runner towards second. The throw off target, and Espinosa with a double.
I know that was hit out in no man's land. Jammed him, but I'm not sure that Martin saw this off the bat. Just couldn't get there, and he didn't get that good a jump, and I don't think he saw it right away. He was kind of moving to his right a little bit, and not so much in.
So Bryce Harper hitting second today and playing center field. Harper was 1 for 3 last night, scored 2 runs.
After the game in Cincinnati, Mike Minor took his medicine from the writers, you know, answering all the questions, but the one thing that he kept coming back to was that all the homers were up. He's got to get the ball down.
He's ahead of Harper. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, the 24 earned runs that Mike has given up this month, 9 of them are home runs. Two and two.
That was awfully close. Boscan set up a little wide of the mark and probably hit the target just a little off the plate.
Same spot, same call. 3 and 2.
Yeah, wide of the mark. Talked to Brian McCann before the game. I said, you know, there's an old Southern saying that applied to you last night when you just kept hanging in there and playing despite not feeling well. And I said, it was, bless his heart. I said, that's the way I felt every time I looked at you because I knew you were scuffling. He said, I've never felt so bad in my life. He said, I felt like, I know how those boxers feel in the 11th or 12th round when they just can't even pick their arms up. He said, that's the way I felt.
Minor loses Harper. A double. Now a walk. Nobody out for Zimmerman. And last night, here's a look at some of the struggles of Brian McCann.
This was right near the end of the game when he was trying to conjure up the strength to go back out there for the 9th inning. And both trainers, Jim Lovell and Jeff Porter, tending to him, but he was able to do it even though he was really out of it.
Zimmerman had the big hit in the ball game last night. Bases loaded, 0-2 count. He ripped a double to left center field that broke open the game. And Minor misses to him low. 1 ball, no strikes. By the way, for those of you who keep track of such things, we've had an umpiring change as well. Gonzalez was a one-day fill-in on this umpiring crew. Paul Nauert is back and umpiring second base today. And he watches as Zimmerman swings and misses for an even count.
Good changeup. Tim Hudson lamenting that pitch to Zimmerman last night. I asked him, I said, was it a split? He said, no, it was a cutter, but it just stayed right in the middle of the plate. He said, probably the worst one I threw all night. And I said, it might have been the worst one you've thrown in any of your starts this year. You've been so good. Two out, nobody on. Walked the pitcher, led to loading the bases, and then Zimmerman on an 0-2 pitch doubled everybody in, and that kind of blew the game open. I asked Hudson about walking the pitch, and he said, if I could have underhanded it up there, that's what I would have done, just to hit it.
So that big hit by Zimmerman made a winner of the man Hudson walked, Chen-Meng Wang, who was just activated from the disabled list and did a terrific job in relief. Little roller slowly hit to the right side, only one play. And Hinsky handles at the first base bag for out number 1. Espinosa to third, Harper to second, and Adam LaRoche is coming up.
The Nationals have been good all year long in a lot of different categories, but they've been good on the road too. The record is 12-10 on the road, but they win their series. They've won 6 road series already, and last year didn't win their 6th road series until September. So what a flying start they're off to in terms of what Bobby Cox used to talk about a lot was, you know, Win today, win the series, and move on.
Adam LaRoche has 33 RBIs this season. And despite an 0 for 4 night last night, enters play today with a .289 average. Well, with all the injuries Washington has gone through, hugely important that LaRoche did not start slowly for this offense. Adam, as you know, a much more productive player over the course of his career after the All-Star break. Not so in 2012.
Yeah, with all the guys they had missing in their lineup, still have missing, for him to get off to that good start really helped hide the fact that they're missing Morse and had Zimmerman out of the lineup too. And they need him to stay hot with Worth out of there till probably August.
High fly to left. That's tailing away from Martin near the line. Makes the catch in foul ground. Tagging from third is Espinoza. And he will score on a sacrifice fly. 34 RBIs for LaRoche. And Washington scores again in the first inning. Their 5th first inning run in the series.
Saw Desmond go after the first pitch from Hudson last night and drive in 2 of those 4 runs in the first inning, so be careful here on the first one.
Good choice, good result. Strike one. Fly ball to right, pretty well hit. Jason Hayward is there, a couple of steps shy of the fence. Espinoza leads off with a double and comes home on a LaRoche sacrifice fly. It's 1-0 Washington. Last 5 in a row. Michael Bourne, Tyler Pasternaky, and Martin Prado 1, 2, and 3. Eric Hinsky slides into the 5 spot. Again, no Freddie Freeman, a very late scratch today. And J.C. Boscan makes his season debut for the big league club, just called up from AAA Gwinnett last night after Chipper was placed on the 15-day disabled list.
Steven Strasburg will be 24 in July, 6'4", 220 out of San Diego State. 4-1 on the year. was the pitcher of the month in April for the National League. Went 2-0 with a 1.13 ERA in April. 53 innings, 64 strikeouts, and 64 total strikeouts, third in the league. His 4 keys to pitching success: don't panic. And I think that was what he was telling everybody when his forearm tightened up in his last start and had to come out early after 5 innings. His side session was just fine too. He said he was okay. Douglas, okay. What that means, I'll explain in a minute. There aren't too many guys. In fact, there's no one in baseball that has as many hits against him as Dan Uggla. So to warn him about Uggla would be for him to go.
Line drive by Bourne. So both leadoff men have hits to start today's play. First career hit for Bourne off Strasburg. And a good start for the Braves' first inning.
Michael Bourne had an 0 for 5 last night. Not going to let that happen again. Reached Strasburg with a solid single.
Tyler punches a bunt foul to the Atlanta on-deck circle. No balls and a strike. The way the Braves are struggling offensively, you can understand why Freddie Gonzalez put together his lineup this way. Prado right now is this team's best hitter among all the healthy players. So you have Pastornicki, puts the ball in play, can hit the ball to the right side. Might be able to set up a big inning with Prado and Uggla to follow.
Even to set up a 1-run inning against this guy, that would be advantageous.
No swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Even after his surgery, Strasburg still throws very hard. His fastball 96 to 99 miles an hour. His changeup is 87 to 90 miles an hour, if that gives you some idea of his so-called off-speed pitch. His curveball, he's got one of those too, 78 to 82 miles an hour. That's hard.
Tyler hits it to the right side, but into a double play. That clears the bases for Martin Prado. Well, Chipper had an interesting comment about Strasburg. He said he has the best repertoire of any pitcher I've ever faced. And he said, how about this? He's a hybrid of Kerry Wood and Justin Verlander.
That's a nice hybrid to be. I know Chipper talked about facing Verlander in spring training, and he said, I came away from the first at bat trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to deal with this 93 mile an hour changeup?
One ball, no strikes for Martin Prado. Martin, a 4-game hitting streak. And doing great work at home, as you'll see in our SunTrust solid performance.
Tops in the National League at 386 for a home average. 2 other National League East hitters in there too. Omar Infante is red hot. Marlins are playing good baseball this month, and Omar a big part of it.
Two and two.
Nothing real fancy about the way Strasburg comes after you. He's a little bit slow in his windup, but then right over the top and really drives at you. And people with the Nationals, people around their team say he's got a little bit of a mean streak in him too.
bounced to deep short. And a good scoop at first by Alan LaRoche. And the Braves are retired in the opening inning on 11 pitches. Mike Minor and the Braves down an early run. Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. 1-0 Washington. Mike Minor back to work in the Nationals half of the second inning. Xavier Nady will start things off. Nady gets the start in right field today.
See that .130 average is 10 hits, 3 of them are homers. And that's the way we've seen him hit at this ballpark forever. Open stance and then drive to right field.
Toward third. Francisco has it.
Been talking about the walking wounded for Atlanta, and now one of those walking wounded is going to have to take a break. Chipper Jones goes on the DL with that contusion on his left leg. That's why Boscan was called up to give them some catching depth, because David Ross strained a groin last night. He said it's better today, not as sore as he thought it might be. Brian McCann still very weak and trying to recover from the flu. And Freddie Freeman scratched, we assume, because of his continuing lingering eye problems. A very frustrated Freddie Freeman.
Tyler Moore is the Nationals hitter and has an even count. And there's some who are wondering, well, if Chipper Jones' leg was bothering him, Joe, why did they pinch hit with Chipper Jones up in Cincinnati in the third game of that series?
Because he said it was feeling better. You know, he actually thought he might play that day. Turns out he did pinch hit, but the anticipation was that he'd pinch hit that day and play the next. Nobody knew that it was actually going to get worse the next day. So that did hurt in many respects with when you think about the disabled list, where if they made it retroactive to the injury, he'd be 8 days into that.
Three balls and a strike to Moore. That's a good pitch behind in the count. Full count now. Jesus Flores, the catcher and 8th place hitter, waits next.
This guy's put up some good numbers for them. 16th round pick out of Mississippi State, but the last 2 years, outstanding home run numbers. 31 homers each of the last 2 years in A ball and Double A, and had hit 7 homers this year at Triple A when he was called up.
Not having much luck making contact in the big leagues, though. That's his 7th strikeout and 18 at bats.
Great changeup. Looks like Mike's got a good one today.
Here's Flores. Strike one. Great effort by Ugla, but he can't get to it. And Flores has a 2-out hit. And that'll clear Strasburg.
Well, one of those things, maybe on the keys to success today, maybe list on there 9 hitters today, not just 8 hitters and a pitcher. Steven Strasburg on the Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard, tied with Cliff Lee and Wade Miley for the top averages as a pitcher, but it's not just his average. He's 6 for 16. That's good enough. But among his 6 hits, a homer and 3 doubles.
And here's the homer against Baltimore in interleague play.
What I like most about this was a leaping effort by the Baltimore left fielder. Watch him get up to try to bring this one back. Whoop.
Looks like a future broadcaster, doesn't he?
Absolutely, he does. Gravity got another one.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, that homer for Strasburg came in his 42nd big league at bat. The Nationals have a great note on that. As you know, Strasburg's college coach was Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn's first big league homer came in at bat number 135.
As we've always said, Strasburg's he's on a pace to be a much better hitter than Tony Gwynn.
Remember a couple of years ago, you and I were walking through the press box out at Petco, and we ran into Tony and we said, "Tell us about Strasburg." And all Tony said was, "He's the real deal." And if I remember correctly, Tony was saying, I wouldn't be afraid to stand in the batter's box, but I wouldn't enjoy the experience.
Yeah, and he also, my recollection was that he really bragged on his curveball too. He said he's not just a guy that throws hard, he's got a good curve.
Runner goes, and Strasburg singles up the middle. Flores on his way to third, and Strasburg helps himself. And now the top of the order comes up with 2-out trouble in the second.
Pretty good swing here on a fastball in on him. He just fought it off. Nicely done.
Well, last night Washington scored all 7 runs with 2 outs. Don't want any more of that today. First and third for Espinoza, who doubled right on the left field line to start the ball game. High fly left field. That's very deep, and that is big time trouble and gone.
I don't know why this keeps happening to Mike Minor, but he's going to get a chat from Eric Hinsky to try to boost his confidence a little bit here. The veteran first baseman coming over to try to encourage him a little bit. But Mike keeps having innings like this where he seems to get 2 outs, not have anybody on, and then get waylaid. That's the 10th home run he's allowed in his last 4 starts and 2 innings. The ball had barely cleared the fence when Big Eric came over to remind him it's a long game. Good for Eric.
So here's Harper. 1 ball, 1 strike. Slow roller. And out of play, foul.
Mike was talking about the location that was a problem in Cincinnati with the 4 solo homers. And that one, not high, but again, Michael in the middle, right down the center of the plate.
Two and two. Eric Hinsky at first, and that will retire the side. Harper busts down the line, but not before Espinosa, with a 3-run homer with 2 outs, gives Washington a 4-0 lead. As Dan Uggla, great numbers against Strasburg, gets set to lead things off. Against Steven Strasburg, and Dan has worn out the Washington righty.
5 for 6. No one else has more than 3 hits off of Steven Strasburg in his major league career so far. Dan Uggla connecting for a couple of them last year. And remember, the Braves have beaten Strasburg each of the 2 times they've faced him. Today they got a little hole to dig out of, but a long way to go. Chip, will you do me a favor?
Sir.
Try to keep your stuff from blowing over on me.
Yes. Apologize.
Okay.
Nothing will cross the line of death.
Okay.
Breeze actually feels nice. A little crowd cover at the ballpark now for what looks to be a very, very big crowd today. First pitch around 93 degrees.
Last pitch at 99.
Ripped straight back.
And right on that 99 again. And such a good fastball hitter. You can't throw it hard enough for him. He says, let me see it. What you got?
And that's strike 3 for the first punch out for Strasburg today. Base is empty for Eric Hinsky. Georgia Power customers can get a free in-home energy audit performed by an energy expert from Georgia Power. Learn how to save money and energy around your home. If you'd like to schedule an in-home energy audit, log on to georgiapower.com.
Back-to-back good changeups. The strikeout of Ugla at 91, and that one was 90. I'm not going to swear that it was Strasburg that said this last year, but it seems to me it was here at Turner Field. And I think it had to do with Dan Ugla. He was talking about he just kept throwing fastballs because he couldn't believe that he was fouling them off. And I just knew I could get one by him until he finally showed me that he was going to hit it, and did. So maybe he learned something from that last year and delivered the changeup for the strikeout.
Plenty of speed on those pitches. Again, a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. But it missed high to Eric. 3 balls and a strike. There's the second Atlanta base runner, the first walk issued by Strasburg today.
See, when he's throwing 97 to 99, it's kind of taken, I don't want to say for granted, but it's halfway expected because that's his reputation. And he's a big guy, 6'4", 220. And he's able to maintain that and sustain that deep into the ballgame. 6, 7 innings, whatever you need in 8 innings. The story about, or the knock on Aroldis Chapman, oh, he throws 100. Well, you know what? I bet this guy could too if he's only out there for an inning. And the concern is that Chapman, for the Reds, if he is in the rotation, he's not a guy, he's slighter built than this guy, that he may not be able to sustain that over a 6 or 7 inning stint.
Well, that sustainability is, I'm sure, part of what Chipper's thinking was when he mentioned Verlander. How many games have we seen Verlander highlights where you're looking up 7th, 8th, 9th inning and he's still throwing upper 90s and even in the low 100s?
And he's a big guy, 6'5", about 235.
Ground ball through the right side. Hayward guides that into right field. So first and second with 1 out. Second Atlanta hit.
Keeping him in the stretch, that's a good thing. Make him work. Somebody just needs to find a gap somewhere. Pitch out away from Jason, and he went out around it. Had a long home run last night, too.
as hard as this guy throws, would you agree, Joe, what makes him special are his secondary pitches, not just his consistent fastball?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a great weapon when you're throwing 97 to 100, but eventually major league hitters will be able to time that, and his curveball and changeup, and his changeup today is exceptional. Francisco's never faced him before, and you can't just go up there and just swing hoping he throws the ball where you're swinging. He swung at the changeup the first pitch that was a ball and chased a fastball there that was out of the zone.
And as you saw, a 20-mile-per-hour velocity range so far for Strasburg. Nice stop by Flores. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Numbers for one when he's had a chance to drive in some runs. 4 homers and 12 RBIs in his 18 starts. Not much of an average, but at least he's contributed that way.
Off the middle, base hit. Hinske around third will be waved. Harper's throw is up the first base line. Francisco takes second. And the Braves are on the board. It's a 4-1 game.
And he adds to that runners in scoring position number. You know, we've heard a lot about the qualities of Bryce Harper and things he can do, and one of them is supposed to be an arm that's second to none in the National League. But he came up kind of hesitant on this. He took his crow hop, but he looked like he was indecisive if he wanted to go to third base to try to get Hayward, or if maybe he should come home. And as a result, threw way off the plate. His mark was wide left.
So the 1-out walk is cashed in by the Atlanta offense. Hinske scores. Now J.C. Boscan. So welcome back to the big leagues, J.C. You get to face Steven Strasburg.
Yeah, jump in there.
Talk about guys that are the polar opposite of Steven Strasburg when it comes to their professional baseball life. Look no further than J.C. Boscan. He spent 13 seasons in the minor leagues without a taste of even one big league at bat until the 2010 season, when he got one with the Braves that year. Last year, finally got his first major league start and his first major league hit against Ricky Nolasco and the Marlins. And here he is in place of injured David Ross and an ill Brian McCann. Meanwhile, Strasburg, the #1 overall pick a couple of years ago, despite his Tommy John surgery, one of the most heralded prospects in recent memory in Major League Baseball.
I can tell you this, JC will be swinging. He's not shy about that.
He broke his bat, and he's going to get an RBI.
Way to go. Came in on him, and he cut down on his swing and just fought that off. And a lot of high fives for that RBI, his first in the big leagues. Target in. Pitch was down and in. And the first thing he does, look at this. Ground ball, he looks to his left to see if the runner's going to come in. And Hayward was moving, so he knew he got the guy in and gave the Braves the lead. Well done. Well, not the lead, I beg your pardon. Their second run.
So Minor's back in the game, 4-2. He can help himself with a 2-out single. And Strasburg misses low. His pitch is starting to pile up now. He threw 11 first inning pitches. Strasburg's up to 24 so far here in the second. Look out. Mike Bourne, you might want to move.
Bye-bye.
Whoa!
He had zero time to react.
That caught a corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jack Wilson last night almost picked off Tim Hudson and Terry Pendleton with foul balls. And while we laugh, that is it's a very scary thing. And luckily, Michael did not get hit by that batted ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You are supposed to have a hitter out on deck. That's an umpire enforced requirement. They may respect the fact that Michael's trying to save himself here. '30th pitch of the inning coming right here.
And Minor had a good cut, but is retired on strikes. Braves rally, score twice, cut the Nationals' lead in half. First big league RBI today for J.C. Boscan. And the Braves have a ball game. 4-2 your score heading to the 3rd.
Jameson Inn, Southern hospitality at its best.
Here's your Hardy's game summary. Strasburg's take now to a 4-2 lead after 2.
Mike Minor's got to throw up some zeros right now after giving up the 3-run homer last inning after 2 were out. His teammates showed him they're going to try to get back in the ball game, and just what Eric Hinske was reminding him of after the homer. Hold him right there.
Off-speed pitch for a strike to Zimmerman. One ball, 2 strikes. popped him up. Eric Hinsky in foul ground takes care of Zimmerman. Good start for the top of the third. Adam LaRoche is the hitter. He has a sacrifice fly today, and there are our McDonald's fans at the game.
Now, what sort of paint do you suppose that is? What can you put on your body that is okay to do that, especially on a hot day?
Didn't know the Blue Man Group was full of Braves fans, but apparently so, as LaRoche takes a strike.
They are diehard. No question about it.
With a Y.
Yeah.
Two balls and a strike. Two and two. And that's bounced by the Braves dugout. Still a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Last year was LaRoche's first season with the Nationals. He was only able to play 43 games. Had a torn labrum in his left shoulder. And while LaRoche was hurt, that allowed Mike Morse to move over to first base and have a monster season for the Washington club. But Morse is hurt now. When he comes back, Morse in all likelihood will go out to left field again, while LaRoche plays his usual terrific defensive first base, and he could not stop himself. Minor strikes him out. 2 up, 2 down in the third inning.
They are missing 3 everyday players: Morse, Worth, and Ramos, their catcher. Good breaking ball from Mike here. Got Adam to chase it. But to think that they're in first place by 2 games and still playing good baseball without those 3 everyday players and big producers is pretty remarkable and says a lot about their pitching.
A strike to Desmond. Desmond flied out to end the first inning. To short. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Mike Minor. A 1-2-3 top of the third inning. And the top of the Atlanta order goes back to work. Our AT Uverse trivia question. Steven Strasburg leads all Major League pitchers with a .412 average. Who was the last Braves pitcher to lead the league in hitting?
I know Maddox won a Silver Slugger. I think Glavine won a Silver Slugger. I don't know if Smoltz did or not, but I'm not guessing any of those guys.
Well, you notice it said Braves, so it doesn't mean just Atlanta, right?
Oh. Yeah, it did. I'm thinking Steve Avery.
Bourne is down on strikes. Third strikeout for Strasburg. And Michael 1 for 2.
Two of the three strikeouts have been on changeups too.
Tyler hit into a double play after Bourne singled to start the proceedings today. And takes one at the knees for a strike. One of the big challenges that Washington will have this year is limiting the innings that Steven Strasburg will pitch this season. He's up to 55 so far this year. And the word is, if he gets to 160 or so, they're going to shut him down for the rest of the regular season. Ground ball, foul past third.
His reply to that is that he's trying to ignore it. Just go out and pitch and not think about it. You understand the Nationals' concern to keep him healthy, but he's on your team to win. You drafted him #1 to add to your staff to help you win and get to the World Series, win a World Championship. He can't do that if he's sitting in the dugout watching.
Pasternicki chased a ball down and away, and that's the second strikeout of this inning and third in a row, and 2 outs. Delta Airlines is a proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. We'll be flying out on our Delta charter at the end of this homestand. The next trip we make will be against these Washington Nationals. That starts the month of June. 3 in our nation's capital, then 3 with the Marlins. Our first look at the new Miami ballpark.
And then can there be really a day off in between? Can that be possible?
It's hard to believe. But Thursday's the day. But it is a travel day.
I was talking about on the road trip. That's like 2 days off in a week. That's unheard of. At least for Atlanta.
Braves wrapping up 33 games in 34 days. The start of this homestand ended a stretch of 16 of 20 on the road. Atlanta home a lot in June, home a lot in July.
Let me give you a comparison. The Washington Nationals through the month of May will have 7 days off. The Braves will have 4. And one of those was the second day of the season.
Ronaldo earns a 2-out walk. Second walk for Strasburg. That includes for Atlanta 2 trips out west. Remember, we've already played the Really 3 if you count Houston. Houston, Arizona, the Dodgers, the Rockies, Cubs, and Cardinals on the road in the first 2+ months of the year. Dan could tie the game. Here's the guy you want up there. Uglo 5 for 7 in his career against Strasburg, and looks a called strike.
Oh,
wow.
Nice play by Adam. That might have sent Prado all the way to third base. Has not been comfortable today. He got the double play in the first inning. That made him feel pretty good, but a rough second inning and now a 2-out walk has him in the stretch again.
Runner goes, pitch short, hopped in the left-hand batter's box. No chance at all for Flores. And Martin Prado steals a base. That's his 7th of the season.
He's racking them up. I think Flores caught this in the web of his glove, but he didn't know it. He was looking around because he thought maybe the ball got by him, but it was stuck in the web of his glove. So good time for Martin to be running.
And Uglo walks. Back-to-back free passes with 2 outs for Strasburg. Steve McCanny's the pitching coach. And now he makes his way to the mound.
Come on, Steve. League wants pitching coaches to jog out there and jog back. Most walks in a game for Strasburg this year, 3. He's done it twice before today and already 3 today in the 3rd inning. His strikeout high is 13. That came at Pittsburgh in 6 innings.
Very long meeting.
Caddy looked like he was reading him the riot act and had something funny to say to Dana DeMuth too.
Interesting day for Eric Hinske. Not in the lineup. Was set out for the Braves defense in the top of the 1st inning after Freeman was scratched. Step in there, son. You got Strasburg up there. Hinske walked and scored the first Atlanta run today.
Different type hitter in this situation. But you see the difference between his approach and Francisco's. Francisco's worked out well because he got a hit behind in the count, but he went up there just swinging wildly at the first couple of pitches. Eric's making him throw him a strike.
Cued toward third, and Zimmerman will take it to the bag, and that will retire the side. Strasburg labored a bit in the 3rd, but doesn't give up any more runs. He leads the game 4-2. Washington in first place in the East. The Braves 2 games back. Here's what the rest of the division is up to this Memorial Day weekend.
Miami Marlins, best record in baseball this month, and they're on their way with a hot hitter in Omar Infante, who's tearing it up. The Mets won again today. They've won 5 of their last 7. David Wright still leads the league in hitting, and the Phillies, they've been Jekyll and Hyde, playing pretty good on the road since May 6th, but not at home. They'll win 5 in a row and lose 5 in a row.
I like the losing 5 in a row part a lot better. As Nady scorches one down the third base line to start the 4th inning. And he'll make his way to second. That's a leadoff double. His second of the year. Minor right back in trouble.
Change up, look like middle of the plate. His location has been the problem through this rough stretch. Just can't get any consistency with his control.
Second at bat for Tyler Moore, who struck out his first time up. Popped up. Hinske with the glasses gleaming puts it away for the first out. Moore's troubles at the big league level continue today. He's 0 for 2. Here's Flores.
I asked around today about what would happen if Brian McCann couldn't have gone back out there in the 9th inning last night with David Ross already injured, and consensus was that Matt Diaz would be the next guy in line. And I asked Matt about that, and he goes, yeah, they already asked me beforehand. And he wasn't feeling very good either.
He's had a touch of that bug too.
I said, well, Hinske looked pretty good going out there warming up the pitcher. And both McCann and Matt Diaz had a good laugh about that.
Ripped foul by Flores. He's the current Washington catcher. That's another spot where the Nationals have been just racked by injuries. Wilson Ramos blew out his knee going after a ball that eluded him at the plate. He's lost for probably the rest of the year. Missed inside. Count evens 1-1. Leon's another catcher. He turned an ankle. He was disabled on May 15th. One and two.
Where J.C. Boskin almost got the follow through on that swing too. And Flores trying to bounce out there and get that ball in the dirt, and the follow through almost got him. Nice block, and he's moving forward. And it wasn't as close as it was from that angle as it was from mine. The good thing for the Braves pitchers about JC being called up is that they're very familiar with him. They pitch to him a lot in spring training, whether it's side sessions, it might be a game, spring training game. Of course, he was up a little bit last year. It's not like they haven't all thrown to him at one point or another.
Looping line drive, caught, and a double play. Fortune favors the Braves in the fourth inning. Nady's erased after Flores loops into an inning-ending double play. 4-2 your score. By the Home Depot and by Georgia Power. Jason Hayward will lead off the Atlanta fourth. The unofficial start to summer this weekend, and it feels like mid-July. Temperature 93 degrees at first pitch. Cooled off just a touch, 91 degrees. Fortunately, there is some breeze. And it's blowing in. So in the Braves fourth, Hayward, Francisco, and Boscan.
.63 pitches for him through 3 innings. A lot of work for Strasburg. He had thrown 90 through 5 innings in his last start against Baltimore when he felt the tightness in his forearm. Got the win that day, 9-3. And of the 3 runs he allowed, only 1 was earned.
Well, while Strasburg is leading today, he's never beaten the Braves. He's 0-2 against Atlanta in his career. And he just lost Hayward. 4th walk.
Season high. He gave everybody the all clear on his side session and his bullpen work between starts, saying, "No, my arm's fine. No worries. Just forearm tightness. Really wasn't even in his elbow or certainly in his shoulder." He said it was fine, but 4 walks today. And you love the leadoff walks.
Jason's a threat to run. He's 9 for 12 in steals. He has a big lead. Francisco, an RBI hit in his first at bat.
He fell behind 0-2. And then he got a pitch to handle and bounce back through the middle. Actually took a little off his swing, it looked like. May have been a bad off-speed pitch from Strasburg. A mislocation on his part.
Line drive into right field. Hayward will cut the second base bag, and he'll make it to third without a play. Francisco's 2 for 2.
That pitch looked like a fastball, but it was 94, and it was belt high and out over the middle, so it was a little off the mark in terms of his speed, and Juan ripped it. Jason Hayward's as good as anybody in the National League at turning second base. Never missed a stride there. Had that little swing out to give him a better angle, but he does a great job of leaning into the bag and going first to third. He's excellent at that.
Well, speaking of excellent, here's an excellent chance for the Braves to edge closer, if not tie or take the lead. 2 on, nobody out for Boscan. Picked up his first big league RBI on a ground ball to first in the Braves' second inning.
He's all over the place. Seven balls and 2 strikes this inning, after a couple of long innings for him in the second and third. And in the third inning, he struck out the first 2 batters he faced, and then he walked the next 2.
Popped up. In foul ground. Flores makes the play. 1 out.
You would have taken even a double play ball there. Make it a 1-run game, but that high fastball, JC can't get on top of it. Popped it up. Nice play by Flores, right over the top of him. So now, if you want to try and get that run in, do you chance a squeeze or a safety squeeze as hard as this guy throws? I kind of like the latter.
Showed bunt, but took well off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
Now go ahead and square around, and if that brings Brian Zimmerman in, that gives Hayward a chance to come with him. But defensively, Zimmerman playing it correctly. He's not breaking until the pitch gets to the plate.
Brian Snitker goes through his signs at third. Jason Hayward stands a few feet away. Francisco at first with 1 out.
Michael Bourne still shy about getting in that on deck circle with Minor up there. 2 strikes on Minor. Let's see if they try it again. I'm guessing they will.
He swings and bounces one to second, and a little flip throw to first in time for the double play.
Golly.
Well, one break goes Atlanta's way in the top of the inning. The breaks go against the Braves in the bottom half. A ground ball right up the middle. And at short, Desmond touched the bag and completed the inning-ending twin killing.
freeze cam. I want to show you something on Mike Minor. He really cups his wrist when he grabs the ball. Even in the glove, you can see his hand and wrist cocked. And in this freeze frame here, look how he's got it cocked. Now, there are some pitchers who they really discourage doing this to. Don Sutton was one who got away with it. Rick Sutcliffe's another guy that comes to mind. But it's not something that pitching coaches really want guys to do. And it's a hard habit to break if that's the way you get ready to release the baseball, because it in some ways hinders you being able to finish your pitches with your hand and wrist. And it's a real hard thing to do. But that's Mike Minor. That's how he does it. It was the Coors Light freeze cam.
Steven Strasburg fouls one back and out of play for a quick strike as we head to the 5th inning.
At some point, you've got to unflex that cocked wrist so that you can lay the ball into a position to flex your hand on the release point.
So from a non-athlete's perspective, it sounds like if you're a hitter, going back before you go forward to swing.
It's a little more than that. It's a little more that it's more that it almost shortens your arm action to the point that you can't really extend and get leverage on your arm extended away from your body.
To short. And Strasburg is out number one. Here's the villain for the Nationals. Espinosa is 2 for 2 out of the leadoff spot. He's doubled, and he's hit a 3-run homer, and he scored 2 of Washington's runs.
Right down the middle. Nice easy swing, too, and launched it. And the middle infielders, in this case Desmond, really caught a break. So did Strasburg in the bottom of the 4th when that ball was hit right over the bag. Braves already had 2 runs, have 2 runs and 4 hits and 4 walks off Strasburg today. But something else is about to come into play. With a guy throwing in the upper 90s with the 4 o'clock start, these shadows are going to start creeping across home plate. They already have. And as they get longer, it's going to be tougher for the hitters to see and track the ball. Not so bad right now, but the closer the shadows get to the mound, it will become harder and harder.
Espinosa is retired on strikes. 2 up, 2 down in the 5th. Back to our AT&T Universe trivia question. This is a tough one. Strasburg leads all MLB pitchers with a .389 batting average. Who's the last Braves pitcher to lead the league in hitting?
I'm going to stick with Steve Avery.
I'm going to go with Rick Camp, because the 4th of July is right around the corner.
Yeah, he's going to be very upset.
A strike to Bryce Harper. Oh, 2. This is our first look at Harper in regular season play. Took the Braves and Nationals 46 games or so before they locked horns this year. Because of all the injuries, Harper getting a chance to play every day. Your impressions of what you've seen so far?
Well, I really expected to see a better throw from center a while ago after all the rave reviews I heard, so still waiting to see that. I'll say this guy really does hustle. He's busting it down the lines and running hard everywhere he goes.
Ooh.
I don't know what was wrong with that.
Dana DeMuth might have missed one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Had a solid hit last night off Hudson, too, to get the rally started in the first inning, and that was right there. Looks like Bryce Harper's begun to expand a little of that eye black back to his college style, which I'm sure is not wasted on Davy Johnson.
Line drive on a 3-2 pitch. Harper has a 2-out single. Ball gets away, and look at him hustle. He makes it a double.
Didn't get away. Jason Hayward just didn't get it in time.
You're right. My bad. Harper, a hustle double. And Jason says my bad too.
So that was impressive. 2 outs. Base hit. Breaking ball. Jason just flat-footed. I beg your pardon, Chip. I didn't see the ball come up off his glove. But he was flat-footed, didn't charge the ball, and Harper never hesitated.
Overslid the bag, but got the toe hold back, so it's a hit and an error. And Zimmerman's the batter with 2 outs. That'll let the Braves bullpen get to work in this 5th inning. After the Nationals leave town, the Cardinals are here. We hope you'll spend your Memorial Day with us as the Cardinals are here for Game 1 of a 3-game series. Don't forget, Monday's game starts at 1 o'clock. And it will feature a special pregame ceremony honoring all members of our armed forces. You won't want to miss it. Get your tickets now at Braves.com or call 800-745-3000.
Those are the kind of plays, though, you just saw from Bryce Harper that earn a lot of respect from his veteran teammates. When he plays with that kind of reckless abandon and hustle to get that extra base and get into scoring position with 2 outs.
Braves will take the bat out of the hands of Zimmerman. They'll walk him intentionally and go after Adam LaRoche.
In defense of Mike Minor giving up the hit on the changeup, he had him struck out the pitch before. That pitch was right there. There wasn't any question, borderline pitch. It had a lot of the plate.
And that's ball 4. And here's the sequence with Bryce Harper.
Now, this was the pitch before the base hit. I mean, there is no, it wasn't high, it wasn't low, and had a good third of the plate. And Dana DeMuth mused it.
So the Braves go after LaRoche, who has 1 hit in his last 25 at bats. That's high, I guess. Ball 1.
Take a look at that, how even they are lefty righty. Left-handers really never given him too much trouble that I recall. I mean, that's a little high for him against left-handers, but he's always hung in there pretty good. And a long look in again by Minor.
2 pitches in almost the same spot.
Good 2-0 pitch there. LaRoche sitting on the fastball. And a good pitch with the breaking ball.
Driven to left. And Martin tracks it down. And that retires the side in the top of the 5th inning. No runs, a hit, an error. A couple left. 4-2 game. Again, top of the order coming up. There's your score. Bottom of the 5th inning. Top of the order coming up. Mike Minor has held his own. A little early trouble, but he's pitched 3 straight scoreless innings. Now we'll see if the Braves bats can do something against Steven Strasburg.
Yeah, the 3-run homer by Espinosa. Big difference right now, and that all started after there were 2 out, nobody on. I had the stat wizards look it up for me because I was curious as to the last time the Braves had an inning where they scored 3 runs or more. And you have to go back 9 days ago to the 17th of May against the Marlins here at home, 5th inning.
Bourne strikeout victim number 5 for Strasburg. Here's Pasternicki. He's hit into a double play and struck out. Well, no timetable yet for David Ross to return. Anybody's guess as far as Brian McCann's concerned, as sick as he's been. We know Chipper won't be back for at least 2 more weeks. If you missed that story, he was placed on the DL after the game last night.
I think of all those guys you just mentioned, there's at least a timetable. You know, you figure Brian will start to get some of his strength back and get over this flu bug in a few days, hopefully. David Ross, at least you know what you're dealing with on that strained groin. Chipper 2 weeks. The one that bothers me the most is the one that nobody can get a handle on is Freddie Freeman.
Another strikeout for Strasburg. And Freeman had the corneal abrasions, you recall. His contacts dried up when the Braves were in Denver, and there was some irritation, and Freddie was scratching his eyes and scratched his eyes literally. has been working with Dr. Alan Kozarski here in Atlanta, trying to get the right contacts or the right glasses. Freddie was in the lineup originally today, but was a literal last-minute substitution by Freddie Gonzalez. And the hard part, too, even while Freddie was playing, he was 5 for 40 over a 10-game stretch offensively.
Yeah, it was obvious that he was not seeing the ball.
One ball, one strike. So you're right. I don't know what the answer is. If Freddie can't find a pair of contacts that helps him, and he's not comfortable with the polycarbonate glasses, don't know what the solution is.
Don't know what the aversion is to the glasses. He wears glasses pretty much all day long until it's time to go on the field for batting practice. So it's not like he's not used to wearing glasses. He has a pair for everyday use. But there's something about it. He's just not comfortable wearing them to hit in.
Line drive toward left, and that'll drop for a 2-out single. First hit of the day for Martin Prado, and again that'll bring the tying run up there. Prado's done a good job of getting on in front of Dan Uggla today.
Looks like he got a hanging breaking ball, something up about chest high, and tomahawked one. Yeah, breaking ball that just stayed up there for him, and then Xavier Nady plays so deep that he was able to drop it right in front of him. Nady's almost invisible in the shadows out there. I'm sorry, Tyler Moore. I beg your pardon.
Here's Uggla. And a good stop by Flores. Why is Prado getting on in front of Uggla so important? As we showed you today, Dan came in 5 for 6 with a home run against Steven Strasburg. He's 0 for 1 with a walk today. That one at bat, a strikeout leading off the second inning.
Flores trying to shake that one off, and Dana DeMuth asking for some new baseballs just to give Flores a chance to catch his breath. Got that one right in the midsection.
Strasburg closing in on 100 pitches. He's not yet through the 5th inning. His season high is 108 pitches. Three balls and a strike.
Nobody loosening in their bullpen, but if he walks another guy, that might change.
High fly ball hammered center. Harper back at the wall, leaping try. It is does it again to Strasburg.
You were right on a minute ago, Chip, when you said, why is it so important that Prado's getting on in front of him? And it's because Dan has worn him out. His second career homer off of him.
And now a wicked hop handled at first by LaRoche. And that will retire the side. The Braves have overcome a 4-run deficit to Steven Strasburg. It took a while, but sure enough, Dan Uggla goes deep for the 7th time this year, and that ties this game at 4 after 5. As we go to the 6th inning.
And that was a good call, Chip, because we couldn't tell for sure from where we were if Bryce Harper had caught this ball or if it cleared the fence. And the umpires didn't know either. They were not signaling. Harper kicked the wall real hard with his knee, and he laid on the warning track there for a while, and we still didn't know. But the fans gave you the only reaction we could get from anyone that gave us a clear view of what actually happened.
Well, it was worth the wait.
It was, certainly was.
So that ends the day for Mike Minor. The Braves starter departs after 5 innings. Chris Medlin answers our first AT call to the bullpen. And he's got Desmond, Nady, and more coming up.
The wind we have had today has been blowing in from center field. The only fear I had was that that was going to get caught up in the wind and that Uggla wouldn't be able to get it out of here. He hit it a ton.
And that ball's hammered down the left field line by Desmond. And he's on his way to second to start the Nationals' 6th.
Much to the plate. Desmond turned on that one, and he can really run too. Watching him go home to second. Milestone of sorts for him.
Here's Nady. He's doubled in 2 trips. And high and away from Chris. 1 ball, no strikes. As the lineup card moves down toward the pitcher's spot, the Nationals bullpen is busy. It's Tom Gorzolani.
Another good left-handed compliment to Sean Burnett down there.
All season long, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the right stuff and the low price. Joe and Chip with you from Turner Field as we approach the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Good ball game today in Atlanta. Nationals jumped out to a 4-0 lead. The Braves have battled back to tie it up. Ian Desmond at second, leading off this 6th inning, and now Nady awaits a pitch. And it's ripped back to the screen foul, still 2-2.
Midland had only given up 1 run in his last 7 outings prior to that appearance in Cincinnati a few nights ago where he gave up the grand slam to Mesoraca.
Hughes shot toward first. Good at bat by Nady. That gets Desmond to third base with 1 out.
Very nice job.
And now Moore looks to be called back to the Washington dugout. David Johnson will go to his bench. And it's Chad Tracy. He's had a bunch of big hits for this club.
He's had the predominant number of pinch hit appearances too. 5 for 17, a homer included. He's driven in 8 runs as a pinch hitter.
Infield comes in for Atlanta. And that missed down and in. And a fly ball hit toward left center field. That's going to get down and roll to the fence. And Tracy hurt himself. Tracy is hobbling as he moves to second base. He doubles home the go-ahead run, but it's a costly hit as another Washington National is injured, this time in the top of the 6th inning.
He came to camp trying to earn a spot, and he did so by having a great camp. He had 3 homers, drove in 15 runs in spring training. He carried that into the season. And right here, almost went down. Looks like he's got a groin. Coming off cold from the bench, you can somehow understand how that can happen, but another clutch hit by Chad Tracy, the veteran.
But it's a costly hit. He'll have to come out of the ball game. It puts Washington in front by a 5-4 score. And Jackson will come on and pinch run now with 1 in, 1 on, and 1 out.
It's a pitcher that's in there cold off the bench.
Washington back in front. Here's Flores. That's foul by third. 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is that time of day where the shadow's cutting right across the front slope of the mound, where the ball comes out maybe briefly in the sunlight, but most of the traveling time is in the shadow. Didn't seem to bother Dan Uggla too much in the bottom half of the inning, though. Nor Chad Tracy here. Way foul. And now a full count. Again, Keel's in the on deck circle. He would bat for Strasburg, who now leads the game 5-4. Flores down on strikes. Just climbed the ladder with the Nationals catcher. You can do the same thing to the Nats pinch hitter. See what they do with Keel. Espinosa, a switch hitter on deck. They're going to pitch to him. 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter.
High fly ball center. Bourne going back. Still going back at the fence. Can't make the catch. A run is in, and Keel all the way around to third base.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if Mike thought he had more room and didn't realize the wall was on him. That's normally one that if you're that close, you're going to turn a little sideways to it so that you can reach a little higher. But it's almost like he backpedaled into the fence here and hit the wall first, which then threw his glove off, and the ball came down and I think may have hit him in the head or the back. Watch, he hits, and that caused his glove to jar, and he missed it.
So 2 doubles and a triple in the inning for Washington, and they take a 6-4 lead. And back to the top we go in Espinosa.
And Rick Ankiel continues to do damage.
Two hits, 2 RBIs last night for Ankiel. A pinch hit RBI triple in the 6th.
The demoralizing part about this is that the Braves had come back against Steven Strasburg, tie the game, and got to enjoy it about a minute and a half.
Well, they won't have to worry about Strasburg. He's out of the game, but he leads 6-4. Medlin takes care of Espinosa. 2 doubles, a triple, 2 runs across in the top of the inning. 6-4 Washington. By AT U-verse and by Ram Trucks. 6-4 bottom 6. Jason Hayward, Juan Francisco, J.C. Moscan coming up for the Braves. Offensive changes for the Nationals. Xavier Nady moves from right to left. Rick Ankiel stays in the game. Bryce Harper shifts to right field. Day is done for Steven Strasburg after 95 pitches and 5 innings. He'll give way to left-hander Tom Borzolani.
He's in his 14th game. He's got a save to his credit this year. He's a guy that's always around the plate, doesn't overpower you. He's given up, as you see there, about a hit an inning. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. Came over from the Cubs, I think, was his last stop after originally being with the Pirates.
Perfect day at the plate for Hayward. He's singled, he's scored, he's walked. And the man on deck's had a good day too. Juan Francisco is 2 for 2. And that is our Delta Airlines on deck batter.
Borzolani's fastball in the low 90s. Has a good slider, though, that he likes to throw to lefties. That's his out pitch to left-handers. And you just saw it, kind of a 3/4 delivery on it. He was in their rotation for a time last year, but moved to the bullpen about midsummer. He's done a good job for the Nationals and Davey Johnson since then.
Three and 2 for Jason now, as he faces Tom Borzolani. Played his college ball at Triton College in River Grove, Illinois. Same school that Kirby Puckett played collegiate baseball. Jason, fly ball left center, and Keel drifts back. He's got it, 1 out. Pender's getting ready for the 7th. It would appear. Here's Francisco.
In the pitcher spot, due up 2 hitters away in case they get to that spot.
Smash towards second. Espinoza makes the play. 2 outs. And the base is clear for Boscan. Come out to Alumni Weekend, June 8th, 9th, and 10th. The Braves will play the Blue Jays, and we'll celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Slide. The first 20,000 fans get a Sid Bream Slide bobblehead presented by Delta and Coca-Cola. Visit Braves.com/tickets or call 800-745-3000. Like I said, one thing's for sure about JC. He's going to come to the plate swinging. He'll be aggressive. Earned his first big league RBI in the Braves' second. He brought home Jason Hayward. Now has some work to do behind 0-2. And a ground ball past Zimmerman, who's upset. Boscan credited with a 2-out hit. Zimmerman upset he didn't get his glove down a little sooner. He got over there in time, just didn't get the glove down. Matt Dye is 2 for 14 against Scorzalani, but one of those hits a home run. The other hit a double. Matty had 3 RBIs last night. Drove in 2 this double. Thrown out trying to stretch it into a triple. He also made a real good play against the fence in left field too. And he said by the end of the game he was sitting on empty, out of gas, as he's been fighting that cold and sore throat flu bug himself. Sounded kind of raspy again today. Scorzalani retires Diaz and the Braves in the 6th. Game 2 of the series. Tomorrow night is the Sunday night baseball matchup, and a good matchup it is. Brandon Beachy for the Braves, Gio Gonzalez for the Nationals.
Check out those numbers for those two lads. ERA 198, 177. Opponent's not hitting anything off of them. Braves first look at Gio Gonzalez in a Nationals uniform after being acquired in the offseason from Oakland.
And then Joe and I are back with you for the Cardinals series. Don't forget, Monday, it's a 12:30 start on Sports South.
Braves live at 12:30. First pitch, 1:10. Lance Lynn, his only loss at the hands of the Braves when the Braves went to St. Louis and swept the Cardinals. In Westbrook and Delgado, Hudson and Loesch. Good matchup of veterans on Wednesday.
That's our Jamison Inn upcoming schedule. 2, 3, and 4 up for the Nationals. It starts with Bryce Harper. And a new pitcher on the mound is Johnny Venters. He answers the AT call to the bullpen.
And could use a good outing. Johnny working out of the stretch full time. See if that helps. April-May splits, not pretty. No runs allowed in April. Not so much this month, and he's had 3 rough ones back to back, even though he's only allowed 1 run that was charged to him.
I think Johnny would like a ball not hit right back through the box.
He didn't want to hit anybody, and he didn't want to get hit.
Harper hits this ball a long way toward left. It's a line drive home run off Johnny Venters. And he doesn't mess around after he hits it out of the park. He sprints around the bases, his 3rd home run.
High fastball and some good hitting by Harper to not try to start his swing too soon and try to pull the ball. I thought it was going to be a tough line drive that Martin wouldn't be able to flag down because of the way Martin gave up on it right away to play it off the wall. Had no idea it had that much on it.
Pretty impressive.
And there was no dog in this. Sprinted all the way around. 3rd big league homer. And he's given up more homers already than he gave up all last year.
Scary thing about Bryce Harper, he won't turn 20 until October. Bouncing ball through the box. It knocked Johnny's glove off. And then he throws the ball low. And on a ricochet, it bounces into the seats. A base hit and a throwing error puts Zimmerman at second base.
Well, he hadn't hit anybody yet, but he did get hit. Not sure where it got him. I think it bounced off his glove. In fact, knocked his glove right off. Now, this is going to sound weird, Chip, but it's funny how when you don't have your glove on your hand and you pick the ball up, and see, he even patted his hand. There's something weird about throwing the baseball without your glove on. And I'm not making an excuse for Johnny here. Oh, wait. That wasn't in the dirt. Eric just missed that, and it could be that Johnny threw one of his super sinkers over there with the sun in the eyes of Eric Hinsky, and he just missed it. So my mistake. Thought he threw it in the dirt. Out of the shadows in the sun, but that ball should have been caught.
Second Braves error today. Now LaRoche ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes.
Braves bullpen numbers would be hard to repeat from last year. It was so good. 302 overall for the year, and it was first in the major leagues. It's gone up to 376 and has dropped them down a little below middle of the pack in the major leagues so far this year. And the thing that keeps puzzling me, Chip, about Venters is how many good swings batters are getting off of him, especially lefties.
Last year, left-handed batters hit 127 against Johnny Venters. Bad hop. Hinske, I don't think ever saw that either. It's into the right field corner, and Zimmerman will score. It's an RBI double. Would you care to venture a guess what lefties are hitting against Venters coming into play today?
Higher than that.
300.
This was a horrible hop. Nothing Eric could do about it. He was there and then lucky to get his face out of the way.
And the Nationals are pulling away. It's 8-4. Remember, the Braves tied this game off Strasburg. A 2 in the 6th, 2 so far here in the 7th. A homer, a single, and a double. High hopper. Francisco looks the runner back. One out. Notice Hinske has the sunglasses off now, as he handled that throw across the diamond without any trouble.
Yeah, on the throw from Venters out of the shadows, he's got the sunglasses on him, mostly because he's standing there with the sun in his eyes while playing first base. And that could have added to the problem, picking up the ball out of the shadows. Now this one, he's got the sunglasses behind the hat so that he can see a little better because of the shadows, and got a bad hop.
Xavier Nady bats and down a strike. Every National who started today has at least one hit, including Steven Strasburg, the pitcher. They have 12 in total, lead the game 8-4.
Maybe Johnson last inning, though, after the game had been tied, he sent up 2 pinch hitters and they both came through with big hits. Big difference makers for Chad Tracy and Rick Ankiel, although I thought Ankiel's fly ball to center, as deep as it was, I thought it should have been caught.
Michael Bourne hit the wall before the ball hit his glove, and he missed it. One ball, 2 strikes. Chad Durbin getting ready in the Braves pen. Line to second. Uglo with a nice play.
Again, a little bit hard to pick the ball up when you're standing in the sunlight and the hitter's in the shadow. Dan able to glove that one. He's not wearing his sunglasses either. If you're counting this as his 4th outing out of his last 4 outings, Johnny Venters only has 1 strikeout. That's highly unusual for him.
Zolani's the Nationals pitcher. And you're right, last year Venters averaged over a strikeout per inning pitched. He had 96 strikeouts in 88 innings.
Unbelievable that left-handers have a mark like that. Well, either side, really.
Righties last year hit 194 against Venters. As you saw, well over 300 this year. There's the strikeout. He gets his opposing pitcher, Tom Gorzolani. But 2 more runs come across, starting with Bryce Harper's opposite field solo home run. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Bottom of the 7th, it's an 8-4 Washington lead.
12 hits on the day for the Nats, and a bunch of extra base hits that have been instrumental in this ball game. They are the subject of our Home Depot tools from the dugout. Home run by Espinosa. Couple of doubles. Chad Tracy with an opposite field pinch hit double. Bryce Harper with a opposite field homer here in the top half of the 7th.
Scoring change in the ball game in the top of that 7th inning. The throw from Johnny Venters. The ball batted by Ryan Zimmerman. Charge the error to Hinsky. Take it away from Johnny Venters. That's cold comfort, though. 2 more runs came across in the frame, and the Braves back to work in the 7th with Michael Bourne 1 for 3 on the day.
The stretch the Braves are going through, Chip, is one of those where you just have to bite your lip a little bit. And the reason I say that is there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, with respect to illness, you can't put a guy like McCann on the disabled list and lose him for 2 weeks for what you thought was going to be a 2 or 3 day deal on a cold or flu. Likewise, Matt Diaz. Chipper's injury was something that that was an odd one about how to deal with it. They finally have put him on the disabled list to get a fresh body up here. And the thing about Freddie Freeman, I mean, it's almost like day to day. Is he going to be able to play and see better or not? So this is a real tough spot personnel-wise. And one that there's not a whole lot that Frank Wren or Freddie Gonzalez can do about it right now.
Just got to play your way through it, do the best you can. Last night, Braves scored 4 runs. They had 9 hits. They've got 4 runs, 7 hits today. But today the bullpen has struggled. Atlanta came back and tied the game off Strasburg. Washington scored 4 unanswered runs to lead 8-4.
Brandon Beachy's start the other night, he made a comment that he lost 4-3. He said that should have been enough runs for me to win. Last night, Tim Hudson said, we got enough runs for me to win. I had enough runs to win. So the pitchers know that they've got players out there that may not normally be out there on any given day, especially this many days in a row.
Right.
But they know that everybody's giving max effort and doing a good job. Hustled today, tied the game up after falling behind 4-0 against Steven Strasburg of all people, but haven't been able to get over the hump and take the lead and hold them long enough to take the lead.
Bourne and Pasternak each strike out swinging here in the 7th. That brings up Martin Prado. Martin's 1 for 2. He'll take a 5-game hitting streak into tomorrow night's game. Look out.
You know, I was just saying to JD and to you between innings after Michael Bourne almost got nailed earlier today that I can see a time coming with the on-deck circles so close where there might be some kind of protective screen there. Juan Encarnacion lost an eye.
Logan Morrison
ended his career. I can see a place where it may be right there in front of the on-deck circle that protects the ball boys and the on-deck hitter. And then any foul ball, the catchers have just got to navigate around it.
Slow roller. Zimmerman at third. Throws on the run and makes a beautiful play. Martin Prado's retired in the 7th. 8-4 Nationals in Game 2 of our weekend set.
occurred. Remember last year they were working real hard, Chip, with Ryan Zimmerman trying to get him to throw more over the top because they thought that some of his shoulder problems were from that submarine style sidearm throw he would make to first base. Well, I think they've given up on that because of his continuing shoulder issues of trying to change his throwing motion, and especially on one like that where he charges and is able to throw on the run. That's tailor-made for his style. Good play.
That sends this game to the 8th inning, where Chad Dermott answers the AT call to the bullpen. Durbin has the bottom part of the Nationals order coming up first.
He's been on a good run. Scoreless baseball through his last 6 outings. In fact, he hasn't given up a hit in any of his last 6 outings. The longest being in any one of those stints a 1-inning outing. But a real good recovery after a slow start where he was giving up some long balls.
The inning starts with Jesus Flores, the Nationals catcher. He's 1 for 3 with a run scored. The last couple of seasons, the Nationals have been a royal thorn in the Braves' side. For whatever reason, Braves have not been able to consistently beat the Nationals. And they're down 8-4 in game 2 today. First 2 games of this series. Last night's went Washington's way by a 7-4 score. They've done a run better tonight. Two and two. Mets already won today. They blanked San Diego up at Citi Field. That was a 9-0 final.
Johan Santana, complete game shutout. Good for him. And Miami winning again, leading in the bottom of the 8th, 5-2 over the Giants.
The Braves started the day 1/2 game ahead of both the Marlins and the Mets. Even the Phillies are starting to heat up. They've won 3 in a row. They're a game over 500. Swing and a miss. Flores down on strikes. Good start for Durbin. Phillies play in St. Louis later on. Big crowd here at the ballpark, 42,698.
At the Scotty McCreery concert after the game today, he was down on the field. Actually, I guess you would say throughout the first 4 pitches. He was showing off some good breaking stuff tonight or this afternoon.
And Keel pops one into right. Jason Hayward's got that. 2 outs. Feast or famine day for Espinoza. He has struck out his last 2 times up, but what an impact he made with his first 2. He doubled and scored in the first inning, then hit a long 3-run homer in the second inning.
Like a changeup that caught too much of the plate. for Mike Minor, giving up the home run. That made it a 4-0 ball game, but you look for silver linings, and for him, he came back, got the side in order in the 3rd inning thanks to a double play. Only had to face 3 batters in the 4th and pitched out of some trouble in the 5th. So he threw up zeros in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning while his team was trying to catch up, and they did just that to take him off the hook.
That'll bounce into the seats. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He went around, and Chad Durbin strikes out 2 in his first inning of relief. Dan Douglas starts off the Atlanta 8th. The Braves are down 4.
Uh-oh.
Don't like that, do we?
No. I don't see any A's on hats there. Steven Strasburg didn't do anything to really warrant being on that list other than to show you that the Braves wore him out today. 6 hits, 4 walks, came back. He had a 4-0 lead. They came back to tie it. He did strike out 6, but Espinosa with a big blow, and a couple of pinch hitters did a good job today too, and Chad Tracy and Rick Ankiel.
Dan Uggla's highlight today, his 2nd lifetime homer against Strasburg. And now he faces Gorzolani and is quickly behind 0-2. One out.
Time for a Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. It came off the bat of Dan Uggla in the 5th inning with 2 out. To straightaway center, just out of the reach of Bryce Harper. Tied the game. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast brought to you by Frostbrewed Coors Light.
Eric Hinski's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored.
Gorzolani's look good. 4 strikeouts in his 2 1/3 innings.
Well, outings like this really save your middle relief. Big lead saves your closer. Nationals have had plenty of issues with injuries in their bullpen this year. Most notably, Drew Storen and Brad Lidge.
I believe Craig Kimbrell is up in the Braves bullpen. He needs some work. He hasn't pitched since the series in Tampa 6 days ago.
That'll reach the seats. Nice catch on a ricochet.
Maybe he's just glad it didn't ricochet off her.
3-2. No, you didn't win a trip to Cancun. It's baseball. Popped up. La Roche. 2 outs. Orsolani's retired 6 in a row. And Jason Hayward will try to put a stop to that. Beachy and Gonzalez tomorrow night. It's left to be seen if Freddie Freeman or Brian McCann will be able to play in Game 3 of the series. As well as those two men have pitched, you figure runs will come at a premium. It would sure be nice to get Brian and Freddie back in there.
That 167 average against against Gio Gonzalez. 32 hits in 54 innings. He has walked a few guys, 22. And struck out 69 in his 54 innings. Very impressive.
Well, the Nationals traded Derek Norris, A.J. Cole, Brad Peacock, and Tommy Malone to the A's right before Christmas to get Gonzalez. As Jason pops this one up to short. Desmond in a couple of steps, puts the squeeze on that. Orsolani, 3 very impressive innings of relief work. And that pop-up sends this game to the 9th inning. 8-4, Nationals lead it. Ninth inning with Braves trailing 8-4.
First batter of the inning will be Bryce Harper. He's the subject of our Toyota play of the game. His good hustle here after Jason Hayward kind of nonchalanted that base hit and the bobble allowed Harper to hustle into second base. Win is a hit and an error, but as you can see, he never stopped running. He's had a good day, Bryce Harper, our Toyota play of the game.
Well, he homered off Vetters. Now he's got to face Kimbrel.
Hasn't been out there in 6 days, so he might be a little rusty. His last outing was against Tampa Bay in relief of actually Johnny Venners in the game that was won by Tim Hudson. Worked an inning, struck out 2 that day.
That disappeared. Strike 2.
In case you're wondering, Bryce Harper 6'3", 215. Solid.
I go back to this simple stat on Harper. He's 19 in doing this. .281 batting average, 3 homers. And a nice pickup at first for Hinske, who checks to make sure the ball was fair. It was.
Saved an extra base hit here. This was right on the line. Part of the chalk and in between hop too, and Eric able to take that tricky hop and make the play.
Here's Zimmerman. He jumps the first pitch and drives that toward the right field corner. And 2 are out. Two RBI day for LaRoche.
Craig Sharp. One of those non-safe situations with 6 days in between outings. Sometimes that's a hard one to have your best stuff, but he's throwing strikes.
Right on by. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he blew that one right by Adam, who was late.
And another one. LaRoche down on strikes. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Get your rally caps on, Braves fans. It's 8-4 Washington. Eastern Division race in the National League is shaping up to be as difficult as we thought it would be coming out of spring training.
Those are the up-to-date standings that include Mets and Marlins wins today. The Phillies play tonight, and the Braves have 3 outs in which to try and catch up to the Nationals today. But if the Braves lose, they could drop all the way to 4th place.
And that's the nature of this division. 4-game winning streak, you can scoot right to the top. If you head the other way, you can head the other way real quick too. And the Rally Caps are indeed out. Braves need 4 just to tie. It's an 8-4 game as Gorzolani's going back out there trying to finish up a 4-inning save for the Nationals.
Be the first one since last September 11th. Hamill did it for Colorado against Cincinnati.
Michael Bourne started the game with a single. He has struck out swinging in each of his last 3 at-bats. So there's Juan Francisco. Michael Bourne, we hope, will come up in the inning. Beg your pardon, Joe.
That would be
Thank
great.
you.
That would be great if he did.
Francisco's due for 3. And a 2-0 count. Ripped into the right field corner. There's a good start. Over quickly is Harper. And Francisco's pulling up lame, and he will stand in at second. He might have tweaked a hamstring. Something grabbed for Juan.
Right here. Fortunate that the throw from Harper was well off the mark that allowed him to get in there anyway. Stay in the game. Hopefully he doesn't do anything to re-injure it or make it worse.
So Davy Johnson doesn't want to risk anything in this ball game. He will go to his bullpen. Craig Stammen was up and throwing. And Gorzolani will depart after 3+ innings of terrific 2-hit relief. J.C. Boscan is due for the Braves. Braves still alive in the 9th. Ninth inning, Juan Francisco has a 3-hit day. He doubled to start the inning. That chases Tom Gorzolani, and now Craig Stammen's on to pitch.
This guy's been used as a starter, but has really found a niche in the bullpen. His career numbers out of the bullpen: 40 appearances, a 2.93 ERA versus a 5+ ERA as a starter. Mostly fastball slider now that he's working out of the bullpen. Fastball in the 90 to 93 range. And another power arm coming out of their bullpen.
Out of the University of Dayton. Born and raised in Coldwater, Ohio, is Craig Stammen. And J.C. Boscan will go to work.
Pretty good walk to strikeout ratio, too. Just 5 walks against 27 strikeouts in 25 innings.
Strike one. He's got kind of a Rob Nen little pause with that front foot. The old Giants closer used to kick up a little dirt.
Little toe tap like the hitters employ these days.
Fly ball toward left. That's playable. And he has it. There's your first out. Jack Wilson.
I'll give you an idea of how Brian McCann is feeling, and also Freddie Freeman, how he's feeling. Not being able to pinch hit. Couple of base runners. Good old Martin Prado up there, the way he's been swinging the bat. See if he could do some damage.
Jack takes low, 2 balls and a strike. It's tough enough to try to win a game with your bench when it's healthy, but when you have McCann and Ross and Freeman under the weather or unavailable, your options are really limited. Outside, 3 balls and a strike. Told you Michael Bourne was coming up in the inning. Here he is.
Jesus Flores unhappy about that too. The catcher immediately fired his mask up on top of his head and barked out at Stamen, reminding him that he's got a 4-run lead. Maybe Davy Johnson out to remind him again.
Davy Johnson had Tyler Clippard loosening up, and he's not going to waste any time. Stamen will be taken down. Clippard versus Bourne in the Atlanta ninth. In the ninth inning, the Nationals have their third pitcher on in this frame. The third man coming out is Tyler Clippard, and that earned the save in game 1 yesterday.
This will be his 21st appearance. That second save did come last night as he worked a perfect inning and struck out 2 batters, and it was at the top of the order where he was working. He got Bourne, Prado, and Freeman. And this would be a safe situation with the tying run on deck.
And that man representing the potential tying run is Brian McCann standing on deck. So let's see what Bourne can do.
Clippard can rush it up there too. Low 90s to about 94, 95. Good slider. There's that funky delivery where he throws his glove up in the air and bends his elbow and kind of hides the baseball.
One ball, one strike.
Not the best swing Michael's had all day. He had a base hit his first time up, so I shouldn't say that since he got a hit, but this was a good hack.
On a corner at 93. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Michael strikes out for the 4th time today.
Pulled the string on him, something off speed, and had him out front.
So will be Brian McCann with 2 on, 2 out in the 9th. Braves trail 8-4.
One for 8 in his career against Clippard. He's due.
Francisco doubled. Wilson walked. Now McCann hits with a 1-1 count.
Got to make those hard throwers get the ball down. So difficult to catch up to a mid-90s fastball when it's letter high. If you make them get the ball down, you got a better chance of just dropping the barrel on it and making it jump.
Popped up. Desmond at short is underneath it. And that's your ball game. The Nationals have won the first 2 games of this series. They beat the Braves 8-4. Braves fall 3 back in the East, a 6-game losing streak. Plenty of big plays to talk about. We'll do that for you right after this.